Is any record deal or publishing deal better than no record deal or publishing deal? Or is it better to have no deal than a bad one? Some people might argue it may not be as black and white as you might think. If you think about it as a parallel of like a dating relationship, you want to say, no, it's better to just be alone, better to be single than be with somebody who's toxic. And for the most part, I think that is an accurate comparison for record deals, except the thing is, there's no question in the business that it is only about business. In the dating world, it could be a little bit confusing. People can be treating you as a means to an end. They can be living in an object reality where you are simply a commodity to benefit them, or they can be an actual human being and love you and just have some flaws that they need to work out, as we all do. But in the business world, it is pretty much like a narcissistic relationship where there is no question about it. They want to make money from you, and they're more concerned with that than making money for you. So there's something that I just had a conversation about with someone, and I wanted to bring this up because I think this is a really good point. There's a company that's only been around for 2 years, making some very, very big claims of what they have accomplished in the last 2 years. The question to be asked is, these impressive accomplishments that you are touting on your website, are they really things that your company did as a company in the last 2 years? Or is this just the resume of the past accomplishments of all of the people that are on your team? You see how they could maybe do that. They could say, oh, so-and-so had a cut on this record, and so-and-so had a cut on this record, and so-and-so co-wrote with this artist. Well, maybe that was before they were part of that company. So it's really important to not be afraid to ask direct questions if you're thinking of signing a contract with a publisher, record label, sync company, whatever. Also, the very first question you need to ask is, how do I get out of this deal if I change my mind? That's the first question. It's not like a dating relationship. It doesn't ruin the romance. You got to be thinking about business. And then also just be aware that if you ask a question and all they do is talk but they don't answer it, that's a big red flag. I know it can be really hard because if you're eager and you are motivated and you want to get yourself out there and then somebody shows interest in you and they do a lot of, in the narcissistic world, it's called future faking, but if they talk a lot of big talk about what they can do for you, there's something, being vulnerable to that is just being human. It's not being weak and it's not being flawed. You really want something and they're offering something to you. And so a lot of times our discernment can get a little bit turned off because we want to believe what they're saying is true. But again, make no mistake, in the business world, they want to make money from you more than they want to make money for you. And I've even heard of record labels signing bands or artists who seem like they might be a threat to someone who is currently on their roster, and they don't let the artist or band know what their intention is, but the reason that they sign them is so that they can get them to record an album but then shelve it and then never release it. And now this act is tied up in contracts and unable to be a free agent. And really all the record label was doing was getting them off the marketplace to remove the competition for the artists that they're actually trying to make money from. I know that sounds really mean, and I hate that I'm having to say that, but it actually is. I've heard about things like this happening. So make no mistake, it is just business. And if the contract is crappy, don't sign it. Especially if you can't figure out how to get out of it. Don't sign it. Just because somebody is showing interest in you, again, it's so hard because it feels good, right? That doesn't mean it's a good deal. It's my personal opinion. It's better to have no deal than a bad one. But the one exception would be if you know that it's a bad deal going into it, but it is only for a fixed amount of time, and then you're going to be out of that deal. And within that deal, you're going to make new connections. It's going to give you street cred. It's going to get you in the room, places that you wouldn't go otherwise. You get what you can get out of that crappy deal that is only for a short period of time, and then you get out of it. That's the one exception. You don't want to do that in a dating relationship. But in a business relationship, that's just life. It sucks to take the romance out of it, but it's not a romantic situation. It's just business.